Hello children, how are you? I hope that everybody are fine at home and safe. In the last videos, we have learned many things about food. Yes children, I hope you have understood them. If you are having any doubts, you can give a message to me on the WhatsApp group. Okay children? And science is an interesting topic as we have already discussed. The food, which is our favorite item also, we are discussing many points on this food. Now we have a recollection of the videos which we have done already. First one, we have discussed about the food. What are the different varieties of food items that we eat and how much do we like it. And also we have discussed about grouping of food. From where do we get food and what components are present in the food? We have discussed in our earlier videos. Okay, and we have already discussed about many other things about food. Now, we are going to discuss about what are the methods of preservation. See children, food preservation. Repeat it again. Food preservation. What is food preservation? Food is generally preserved in many techniques. But what is preservation? You know, if for example, if your mother give you 10 chocolates, a group of 10 chocolates, what do? You keep them safely from your brothers or sisters. Why do you do that? You are preserving your chocolates so that you can eat them after some time. Yes children? Okay. And sometimes if you go to your grandmother's house, your grandmother will store all the food in some containers. Have you ever seen them in the containers? Yes. Why they are storing them? Why? Because she wanted you to come to their house and eat them. Have you ever experienced this one children? I hope everybody have experienced this. Okay, what are the techniques used in this one? It is nothing but food preservation. What is your grandmother doing or what you are doing? You are preserving the food. See, today you had nice biryani and it is very much good enough for your stomach. So the remaining is kept on the table. So what your mother will do? Your mother will put that biryani into the refrigerator. Yes children? So the next day you can eat it again. Or else your father have brought different varieties of fruits all at a time. Like apples, guavas, oranges, watermelon, all at a time. So if you leave them outside, what will happen to those fruits? They will get rotten and spoiled. So what you will do? You will nicely put them in the refrigerator so that you can take one fruit each day and you can eat them nicely. As children? Okay. In all these aspects, what you have observed? You have observed nothing but preservation of the food. So now let us go into the topic of preservation of food. Preservation of food is nothing but storing the food for a long run without spoiling it. What is food preservation? Storing the food materials for a longer period without spoiling them. So there are different techniques for preserving our food. Now let us see what are the different techniques that are used to preserve the favorite food items. Okay children, come on. See, different methods. Different methods. Have you ever seen this? I think only few only know what are the different methods of preservation. But now we will discuss what are the different techniques that we generally use for our food preservation. Okay, the first one is canning. What is this children? Canning. Okay, second one, smoking. What is this, children? Smoking. Third one. Freezing. What it is, children? Freezing. The first one. Pickling. What it is, children? Pickling. Now let us repeat them. Canning, smoking, freezing and pickling. There are more techniques, and first of all you note down these, then again we'll write the next techniques. Okay, now we will see the other techniques. The fifth one is drying. Repeat it, children. Drying. Next, salting. What it is, children? Salting. And the last one is sugaring. What it is, children? Sugaring. See here. What is this? Drying. Next, salting. And next one is the sugaring. So, now we will discuss each of this method briefly. Why the food preservation is important? Food preservation is very important so that you can store the amount of food which is present with you. These all techniques are used specifically for food preservation. Okay, children, I think you have understood what is food preservation. Storing or preserving the food for a longer time without spoiling it. What it is, children? Storing or preserving the food for a longer time without spoiling it. It is nothing but food preservation. What it is, children? Food preservation. Now, we will see the first one. What is the first one, children? What is the technique? First one is canning. What it is, children? Canning. Have you ever seen canned foods? If you go to any big bazaar or any big food departmental stores, you will find different food items that will be canned. They are either put in the metal jars or in the glass jars. The food item is stored inside them. In what way they are stored? This method of preserving food in either bottles or in the cans is nothing but canning. Why the canning is important? The canning technique is generally used for the fruits and vegetables, and even sometimes it is used for sweets. If you have seen, I think you have seen the rasagullas. The rasagullas, you can find the container from the shop. If you bring it and open it, you can nicely take out the rasagullas which are present in the juice present in the cans. In this technique, the food materials are stored either by adding preservatives or acids or sugar or salt solution. So, in this way, if you store these food materials, they will stay for a longer period. So, in this canning, generally we see the examples of fish, vegetables and fruits. So, fish, vegetables and fruits. You can get these materials mostly in the process of canning. Okay, children? Have you understood? Okay. Now we'll see the second one. What is the second one? Smoking. What it is called? Smoking. Have you ever visited any barbecue hotels? In the hotels, generally, the 5-star restaurants, what they'll do is, they will use this technique called smoking. What they'll do, they will take the meat and they will put on a nice firewood. Beneath you will have the coal or the wood, and on the top you will have a plate. On the top of that plate, these chicken, mutton, shrimps or different varieties of meats, they are kept on the top of this thing. So what they are doing is they are just simply smoking. The smoke which is coming from the coal or the wood is being absorbed by the food materials. This simple technique is called as smoking. What will happen if you do smoking to the food material? If you are doing the smoking technique, some flavors are added to the food. If you go to the Barbecue Nation restaurant, what they will do is, they will do this technique only, smoking. They will smoke the food and the food will become very tasty. Okay children, I hope you have seen this one. In this one, what kind of food can be used? You can again use the fish, meat and nuts. And sometimes see what you will do. If you wanted to roast any like coffee beans, if you wanted to roast, you will put the pan on the stove or on the firewood and you will roast them. So it is also a technique of preservation. We will see that. Okay. What is the next technique? Freezing. This is the basic technique which you know. Yes children? Everybody are having refrigerators at home? I hope everybody have. See, in this freezing technique, what they will do is, they will freeze the food. All the food materials are being freezed. They are kept in the refrigerators or they are kept in the ice boxes. See, if a fish have to be harbored from harbor to the fish stall, what the fisherman will do? They will catch the fish and they will take a nice ice box. They will take a nice ice box. They will put some ice into it and they will put the fresh fish so that it is not spoiled or it can stay for a longer period. Even in the homes also, what we will do? We will bring all the fruits and vegetables and we will neatly arrange them in the refrigerator. Have you done this children? You have to do this and help your mother. Good. So for the freezing, what are the general food materials, which kind of food materials are used for freezing? Like all vegetables, fruits, meat, fish, everything comes under freezing. So mostly these techniques are used for preserving the varieties of food items. But why? Have you raised a doubt that why we are using this technique? Why the different food materials are used to, why the different food preservation techniques are used for different food materials? Yes, why? Because each variety of food have a different components present in it. Each and every component should be stored in different techniques so that the flavor of the food is being preserved and the food material will not be spoiled. Okay children, now we'll see the next techniques. So what is the next technique? That is called drying. What it is children? Drying. So the name itself you know, drying. If you wash clothes, what do? You nicely dry them in the hot sun. Yes? Have you ever seen your mother doing it? Okay. In this technique, what is the method? The drying method is nothing but, first they will put the food items either in the hot sun or they will blow air. Okay. This is called as drying. In this method, the moisture in the food material is being removed. In this drying technique, the moisture, every food material contains moisture, means water content. So the water content, if the water content is present in the food material, what happens? The more microorganisms can grow. So to avoid the spoilage of food and to preserve the food for a longer time, in this drying technique, the moisture content is being removed from the food material. Generally we dry in the sun. In the hot sun we are drying it. So that what will happen? The water is evaporated from the food material. Have you went to beach? Did you go to beach? Have you ever visited a beach? If you see the beach, near the beach, the fisherman, they will put all the fishes on the side on the pavement. What they'll do, because of the sun's heat, the fish will become dry. Later on, in this technique, once the moisture is completely absorbed, the dry fish is ready for eating, or they are used in the packing technique. So, drying not only the fish, even in the house, what you'll do, sometimes you can see chilies and tamarind, dry chilies. Your mother will nicely dry them in the hot sun, and also tamarind, so that if the moisture content is removed completely, you can store them aside for the further use. So in this one, what are the food items that we can get? Fish, chilies, tamarind, etc. Okay. So all these varieties of food items can be generally preserved in the process of drying. Okay, children. Now, we'll see the next one. Salting. And the next one is also sugaring. Salting and sugaring. What is this salting? We have just finished the summer season. What in the summer season your mama will do? Your mother will nicely have pickles. Have you ever seen it? Pickles? Tomato, mango, gongura, all varieties of pickles are prepared in the summer season. What is the technique used in this pickling? It is nothing but salting. Salt is also called as brine when the food material is stored in salt. What the salt will do? The salt will absorb the moisture. It will remove the moisture in some foods, and in some foods, because of the presence of the salt, the microorganisms will not grow. Okay, children, they will kill the basic nature of this salt will kill the microorganisms. It will not allow the microorganisms to grow on the food material, so that you can preserve the food. Salting is a technique generally used in the pickling process. All the varieties of pickles, they will add spices, salt, oil, and all together they will mix it and they will preserve for a longer time. In the olden days, the grandmothers, they used to pickle a big jar. They used to take a big jar and they used to pickle for the whole year. They can stay for the longer periods, like the whole complete year. You can find this pickles. Okay. And again I said that dry fish. The fish is converted to dry fish by adding some salt. They will add the salt so that the food is not spoiled. And next one, this is the sugaring technique. In this sugaring technique, the sugar is added. The sugar is added. In the salting technique, we are adding salt. In the same way, in the sugaring technique, we are adding sugar. For example, everybody loves to eat jam. Yes, children, I know. You will nicely eat the jam with spoons instead of putting on the bread or on the chapati. Yes. So, in what way this sugaring is helping? To prepare jellies and jams, we add more amount of sugars. Even by adding sugar also, we can preserve the food. This sugaring technique is used. See, if you want to prepare any candy or a chocolate, what is used along with the other ingredients? Sugar is the main ingredient added in it. Why we are adding this sugar? If you check the ingredients list on any packed food, like jams or jellies or candies, chocolates, if you observe, the main ingredient is the sugar. Because of adding more amount of sugar to the food is being preserved for a longer time. I hope that children, up to now what I have taught, you have understood. Yes, there are the different techniques of preserving the food. Okay. Okay. Up to now we have seen the different techniques of food preservation. Yes, children. But now I ask you a question, why we need to preserve food? Do you know, children, why we are preserving food? You don't know? Okay, I'll say no learn. Why we need to preserve food? What are the why we are using these techniques to preserve the food? There are few important points to be learned. First one, you can store the food item. Storage. To store the food item, we are preserving the food. As we have already said that if you leave the food materials outside, what will happen? They will be spoiled. So, without spoiling or without early spoiling, if you wanted to keep those food materials for a longer period, then we have to use the food preservation techniques. Okay. Next, see, seasonal food. Seasonal food for all the year long. For all the year long. So what is this one? Mangoes are only found in summer season. Yes. Watermelons are also found in only summer season. All the citrus fruits are found all through the year. So, if you observe, the fruits are seasonal. Some varieties of fruits are found in the summer, some in the winter and some in the rainy season. So, if you want to eat the same fruit, if the mango have to be eaten in the winter season, can you get it? No, you cannot get it. But if you can preserve this mango by using any of this technique, then you can eat the same mango in the winter season also. How you can eat? See, I have prepared a jelly of mango by adding some sugar. So, I have prepared it in the summer season. If I can store it, I have sugared it and I have refrigerated it. I have used two techniques here. So, what will happen? I can happily eat the jelly in the winter season or in the rainy season. So, seasonal foods are not available all through the year. So, if you wanted to eat those seasonal foods all through the year, then you have to preserve them. Only you can eat them by preserving. If you will put them outside or if you leave them without any preservation technique, what will happen? They will get spoiled. Okay. So, what is the next use? Next use is transportation. What is it? Transportation. I am living in Visakhapatnam and I want to send some food material to Delhi. From Visakhapatnam to Delhi, if I wanted to travel, it will take me 3 days in a train. Okay. So, I took crabs. Do you know that? Or shrimps. I want to carry those shrimps or the crabs from Visakhapatnam to Delhi. It is taking me 3 days long. If I put them outside like this, if I can carry them in a carry bag, what will happen? After 1 day, they started getting foul smell, and in the second day, they will start spoiling. On the third day, by the time I reach Delhi, what will happen? They will be completely spoiled and they are unfit for cooking. Yes? If I use the preservation technique, see, either I can put them in an ice box and carry it to Delhi, or I can deep fry them and carry it to Delhi, or I can add some salt and preserve it and I can take them to Delhi. So that once I reach Delhi, what I can do? I can happily eat those food. So, in the process of transportation also to a longer places, what will help? The food preservation techniques will help. See, sometimes the food is being exported from India to other countries. So, by using the preservation techniques only, the food items, any food items being transported from one place to another place. This food preservation techniques help in transportation without any spoilage. Okay, children, see what is this? Storage. It is useful for storage, and you can get all the seasonal fruits all through the time, and also for the transportation technique. So, Basically, or the important point in this food preservation is nothing but to protect the food. You will protect the food. In what way? Without affecting it. You can, if you preserve the food, the taste is being protected, the food spoil is being reduced, and you can also get them all through the year. Okay children, I hope you have understood the food preservation techniques, and please follow them at your home, which are available. Now let us see the definition. Food preservation is the process of preventing food spoilage by creating conditions under which microorganisms cannot multiply and grow. Okay children, this is called as food preservation. See the different techniques in food preservation: canning, smoking, freezing, pickling, sugaring, drying and salting. Okay children, in all these ways we are going to preserve the different food materials. Have you ever seen them? See in the picture you can see the bottles. In the bottles there are different items, food items. See children, here also you can store them in this way, like this is simply called as canning technique. You can brine them, or you can add sugar to them, or you can add some preservatives or acids to them, and you can store the food materials for the longer periods. Okay children, the food preservation techniques are used for keeping the food properly. In this picture you can see the fish is being dried. I already said the fish is air dried, adding by salt. I hope you have understood all these techniques, and please maintain the good things and follow them.